We're driving a HQ Kingswood with an LS1 behind it.
The LSQ. It's finally happened. We're finally here.
It's been a freaking long time since we've had this car back, and it's back finally.
Yeah, it's been almost a year, I reckon, since we saw this last on the channel at least. But it is done. It is a fully engineered LS1, suspension, everything, tires, all engineered.
And air conditioning.
And air conditioning, which is really good today. No worries, mate. We weren't
Just cut me off. It's fine.
We weren't driving here.
Yeah, I didn't want to boot it under the tunnel. It's cool.
So yeah, you're joining us on our first drive of this car. We have not driven it since it left the shed nearly a year ago now to go on its engineering journey. And I say engineering journey because that's what it was. We'll go more into that later, but yeah, it's done now and it's finished, and then it is a running driving car and it's driving really nicely.
Drives great. Drives like an old HQ, but you've got that turnkey reliability.
Yeah, and that's the biggest thing about it. Like, funny, it turns the key and it sounds like, where's the Commodore? Where's the SS?
Alright, so what's changed?
So since it's been gone, there's been a fair bit of work done. A lot of it, you probably won't notice it because it's just fixing up little things here and there for the engineer to get sorted. Body-wise, not much has changed, except for the guard has been repaired, which I was bummed about. I really wanted the guard to remain as is with a big rust hole in it. But that's been fixed up, and honestly, it probably looks better for it. Underneath the bonnet, let's have a look under the bonnet, shall we?
Yeah, let's have a look under the bonnet.
Not a lot has changed since you guys last saw it. There's been a few little things that Les has had to fix up just for engineering's sake, and I don't think it's anything really noteworthy. One thing that we had to change, and we had issues with when we were building this car, is the booster in this. We actually had to change this booster out from a HQ booster over to HJ and beyond, or whatever it was. I think this is actually a HZ booster. The reason being is because when we first were driving this car, even around here, you would put your foot on the brake, and because this has got the Wheelwood disc brakes all around, it would basically just go to the floor. Like your foot would just go to the floor. It would stop, and it would stop like hard. And the problem was the HQ booster was actually over boosting this brake setup. We talked to a brake specialist, and he basically said, as soon as we told him what we're doing, we're running disc brakes all around with a Wheelwood master cylinder. He said, your HQ booster is over pressurizing or over boosting. You need to swap out to a HZ one. So we did that. We've got a HZ booster, then we got a HZ pedal as well too, because that's actually slightly different compared to a HQ pedal, so we swapped that out just to do with leverage and stuff like that. Put that in, and now they work perfect. There's no issue with them whatsoever, and the brakes are awesome in this thing. The Wheelwoods are sick. Unfortunately, you never see them because they're hidden behind the Street Pros, but you know, it is what it is. That's keeping with that sort of 80s muscle car look, I guess.
Yeah, I guess, yeah. I think it's achieved the look.
Yeah.
I think it's achieved the look of you know, like patina, but then under the bonnet is just clean.
Yeah, so you'll notice a lot of this car, it goes from really, really clean and beautifully painted to patina, and there's that sort of crosses over throughout the car, and there's no real logic to it. I think it's just whatever we pulled off, we painted and put back on.
Yeah.
And what we didn't pull off never got painted. The other thing that we changed only this morning as well too is we now have a set of billet Raceworks fuel rails on it, just to neaten up the engine bay and make it look a lot better than the standard shitty rails that come factory. It just looks a whole lot cleaner. They look nice, they work really well. It also meant that we could put these aftermarket rocker cover covers, guess the rocker cover covers,
yeah,
on it as well too, just to hide the coils. I think you just got them off eBay, didn't you?
Oh yeah, I just got them off eBay. They were the cheapest ones on eBay, and they fitted really well.
It hides all the coils and just gets rid of all that ugliness. So
yeah,
that's turned out really well too. Other than that, not much there wasn't that much that he had to change under here too.
No.
not much of the car changed from when we reviewed it at the start of the year.
Yeah.
We reviewed this car at the start of the year.
We didn't even realise this is the car that we started this year with. This season? Do we call them seasons now?
I guess we can talk.
Call them seasons, yeah. This is the car that we started with, and I think this is the car we're going to finish with, I reckon.
Yeah.
Seems appropriate. So, in the boot, there was a few changes that had to be made.
Yes. If you did go back and watch all the episodes, the fuel sender was up through here, and we had our fuel lines just running through these holes there. But engineer wasn't happy with that. You can't have any fuel lines running through the car, because if something breaks or something bursts, you know what I mean?
Hope they never see the Fairlane.
It's engineered, what are you talking about? So we ended up switching it to the same setup that Michael put in his car. Ended up using the CAE Performance Kit and sunk it down a lot more, and then built a box up, because he didn't want to like do the wedges like we did in Michael's car to sink the tank down, and it was just a lot more work. So just brought the box up, and now the fuel lines are completely under the car, nothing's running out.
Yeah.
2 spares, because I think this has a true track in it, and I would really hate to kill a true track by blowing one wheel and putting a different sized tyre to the other tyre. So 2 spares purely to keep it the same size where it is if something goes. That's the over precaution in the old man. Where me, I just got Michael on speed dial, Michael, blew a tyre.
Come get me.
Yeah. Yeah, other than that, underneath hasn't changed.
Oh, there is one thing that's changed underneath.
Oh yeah, well, it's only normal for the Camilleri family to run no tailpipes. So
There's no tailpipes in this
there's
anymore.
no tailpipes. The diff dumps have gone back on, and it sounds like music.
It does sound
It
really
sounds
good,
so
this
much
car.
better.
Alright, let's do what we always do.
Yeah, should we hear what Alice sounds like?
That sounds good.
That sounds a lot better, doesn't it?
Yeah, it sounds heaps better. That actually sounds good.
That gets me excited.
That does sound good. I like the dust cloud that it forms too. Actually, when you punch it, you can hear the induction too.
Yeah.
From the intake.
Yeah. That's crazy.
It could probably do with maybe a 3-inch twin, but we're not going to get into that. The car has come a really long way.
So the only other thing interior wise that has changed since we saw it last is you'll notice it has an aftermarket steering wheel now. We loved the old steering wheel, it looked really good and it kept that sort of patina feel about it, but the trouble was it was such a big steering wheel, and with this bench seat it was really in your lap. So when you were turning you were constantly hitting your knees. So we've gone to an aftermarket steering wheel. It actually looks really fitting with the black against the black dash. I think it looks really nice and actually brings a bit more of that street car.
Yeah, I think it's more
feel
comfortable
about it.
too.
Yeah, it definitely feels better. And
Yeah.
it's not ovalized like the old one was.
Yeah.
The old one was more rectangle than it was circle. It really was.
And it looks like a GDS wheel, really.
Yeah, it looks like I'd say like a HK GDS wheel because they're a bit thinner, I guess.
Yeah, I guess, yeah.
Although they didn't have that, did they? It's like a HQ HK
Yeah.
hybrid. One of my favourite things in this car, I reckon, that we did is I love the shifter in this thing. I
Yes.
love how we still have the standard shifter, but we still can select all gears in the 4L60E, and it actually works really well, surprisingly, considering we did it. Alright, so cost. What are we looking at with the car sitting here, engineered on the road as it is today? What are we looking at?
You can't really quote me on this, but I know it's around the $50,000 to $60,000 mark to get this car where it is. And that's LS, everything. That is everything. I'm pretty sure it's like $55,000 to $60,000 engineered.
Buying the car as well too, because what?
Including buying the car. We got the car for $7.5 grand.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. But mind you, there was rust.
Yeah, it was a lot of rust.
We seen it and we're like, oh yeah, that's good. It was Swiss cheese. You can go back and watch the episodes. We were poking screwdrivers through every hole. That's good.
Yeah, it was a rough one, this one.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of you guys might be out there saying 55 to 60 grand for something like this. When you look at it, it doesn't look like a $50,000-$60,000 car, honestly. When you drop that bonnet, it just looks like a HQ with a set of Street Pros on it. A lot of that cost comes into just the parts that we're using. This. No expense was spared when it comes to this car. Like all the kit from Castleman Rod Shop, it does add up over time. It's all really good stuff, and it all is high quality stuff. So you got to account for that cost. It's got full Viking coilover suspension underneath this. It has a full Castleman Rod Shop 9-inch diff under this. It has the LS1 and the 4L60E, which came from a donor car, which only had something like 70,000 K in it.
Yeah,
so
it had nothing
it was
on
a
it.
premium that was paid with that. The radiator obviously adds up in cost as well too. All the electronics, I wired up all the engine bay side of things and got the engine running, but then it went to an auto elec after that for like the gauges. It has a full autometer gauge set in this, which was something like $2 grand in total as well too. Then as well as that, it also has a full interior that went to interior trimmers, and the interior has been completely retrimmed. New door cards, new carpet, custom bench seat with the houndstooth inserts in the bench seat front and rear. AC.
There's nothing spare. The underneath this car is brand new.
The big wheels, like yeah, it is brand new, this car, other than the paint and panel. So yeah, 50, 60 grand, you'll go, how do you add that up? But it does add up really quick by the time you're said and done.
Yeah. And there's a lot of work in this car.
Yeah, not to mention all the Raceworks fuel system in it as well too. Like I said, there hasn't been an expense spared on this thing. It has been done right. And it's a car that you can trust that you're going to turn the key and it's just going to drive halfway around Australia and then back again, which will be the full length. But anyway, you can drive it all the way around Australia and it'll be fine. And engineer as well too. Engineering obviously costs money as well too. Well, now we're in the twisty, so how do you reckon it's going to go on the twisty?
I'm honestly scared because we got front runners.
Yeah.
And I'm always worried of tacoing a front runner.
It might just go straight. So we'll take it easy through these.
Yeah. I reckon the auto does really let it down.
Yeah, the gearbox feels so sluggish, and when you're shifting, it's kind of like, wait, what gear do I want to be in?
Yeah.
Which is a 4L60E. There's bumpy there. You can feel the old sofa. You can feel it there. The 4L60E does exactly what you imagine a 4L60E to do, where you put your foot down and goes, I'm a gearbox?
Wait, I'm supposed to change gear?
What, you want me to do what? I don't know how to do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I will say the brakes
are
good.
good.
The brakes are
You just
really
touch
good.
them and it just throws you forward,
Yeah, the brakes are really good.
I would have not wanted to be in this car when the brake testing would have been done.
No, absolutely. But we're out on a beautiful day. It's kind of warmish today, and I can turn the AC back on again. It is absolutely freezing.
It's so good.
There's no I guess the trouble is with the vintage air, this system, there's no mixing in heat.
Yeah.
So it's just cold air, so you can't make it like kind of just reasonably cold. It's either, oh, you want to freeze shit, or off. The best thing about this is this car's coming to Sundance with us along with the Fairlane. This has aircon, the Fairlane doesn't, so I know which is going to be the car that we're going to want to be in. But
then, when it gets to Skid Row, which car are you going to want to be in?
I want to be in the Fairlane because that's where we want to fry tyres. That's the other thing with this car too. Anyone thinking about doing this conversion, would you say this is a quick car? Actually, that's pretty good.
It's definitely not by all means quick. I honestly reckon your car, the 253, could keep up with it.
I think the biggest issue with this is just the 4L60E, as a lot of people would know. It is a bit of a sluggish box, and it seems to like soak up a lot of the power.
Yeah.
And you do feel that.
Yeah. But it is going to go for a tune. Jake from Tune Tech said he's willing to take the car in and run through it, and I think he said he can do a few things maybe with the auto to help it shift firmer, but next year probably will get a shift kit and help that 4L60E out, and then it might do a little bit better maybe. Yeah,
and we might also put a few more bolt-ons in this engine as well at some stage as well.
Yeah.
To really liven it up.
I think it goes alright.
It goes fine for what it is.
It goes fine for what it is.
No, this drives really nice. I'm really impressed with it. It is a really easy car to drive. Now, the one thing that we have to consider is, what did this car originally start as? What was the idea? Who was it for?
So originally, this car was supposed to be built for my mum. Just an LS Cruiser because it was reliable.
And easy to drive.
And did we achieve that?
Tick. Absolutely.
Yeah.
anyone's mum could jump into this car, turn the key, and drive it just like a normal car, a normal Commodore. Because effectively, that's what this feels like driving.
Yeah, I think if you knew how to use a column stick, which it's not hard, there's a little needle and there's a little gauge that tells you where you are, you can be able to put it into drive and drive it.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
Now, is it still Mum's LS? No. I will say though, that was the best way to get how do you spend $50,000 in your car past your wife. I'm building it for you, honey. It's for you.
Look, the plates.
Mum's LS. So, well done, Les.
He's smart. He knows how to play the game.
Yeah, anyone watching at home? That's how you do it.
Oh, you're keen. Oh, those brakes though.
Yeah. They're good. It goes alright. Like when you're in gear and you put your foot down, it goes alright.
It does go alright. You know, to potentially the next owner of this car, because he has a pretty good track record of selling cars.
Yeah.
It is ready for power. It has the 9-inch. You know what I mean? It has the wheelwoods. You know, it has the gear. It's got the LS. You know what I mean? You just put a Turbo 400 behind it and strap a turbo to it. It would be a rocket. It'd be a power cruise car. You know what I mean?
This would be a pro street car.
Pro street car.
So easily.
You know.
It's got all the good running gear behind it.
But that's another 20 grand there. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So
but
I think
it's ready. It's ready to go.
Yeah.
Like the whole reason he did the diff was if he wanted to charge it later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think for the plan for Les at the minute now is he will basically see it out as it is and drive it and enjoy it. Knowing Les, two things are going to happen. One, he's either going to sell it, or two, he's going to want more power. So it's basically set up to do either of those things in a minute.
Yeah. Yep. Car took what, 2 years, you reckon? A year and a half.
Yeah, about a year and a half. Well, yeah, I guess it took us, 6 months or something to build it.
Well, we had the car for 4 months.
Yeah.
At the end of the last year.
Yep. And then basically the majority of the time has just been going through engineering and then stuff with obviously what's been going on in the world at the minute, slowed everything down.
Yes,
We didn't have access to engineers. Engineers couldn't test it.
Yeah.
Had issues with engineering as well too.
Yeah. The engineering was a bit of a nightmare. It's definitely getting harder and harder to put a late model engine into a older car.
Especially here in Victoria, I'll say.
Yeah, especially in Victoria. Elsewhere, don't know. In America, you can just chuck in whatever you want. But it was a lot of work, and I can't express how hard it was because I wasn't really there to go through it. Dad went through it all, and I think he was ripping his hair out. There's a little patch here. He's slowly losing.
We were talking to him just before. He said that now that it's done, it's awesome, and he's happy that he did it. But would he do it again? Probably not. Engineering it was just so difficult, and
but this is a engineered HQ with an LS1 in it.
Yeah, which is an achievement in itself, especially like I said. And at the moment, things seem to be getting a lot harder to get things passed, especially with EPA and everything else involved in that. Exactly right. And brake testing now become a whole lot harder.
Yeah, so this car did get brake tested, passed with flying colours with the wheelwoods.
All right.
Well, that wraps up the HQ.
That wraps up the LSQ
and the year.
And the year. A long time in the making, but it's finally got there and it's on the road. This is I'm sure not going to be its final form. There's still a lot that's going to be done with it from here.
Yeah.
But now that it is engineered and registered and it is running and working, we're going to enjoy it for a bit, take it to Summer Nats, bring it back home
and see what else happens to it.
All in all, I think it's a great project. The result has been awesome. A lot of work and a lot of time has gone into this thing and just making sure that everything works just right and works good and looks good too. Pop a bonnet in this thing and it looks clean. It looks really nice.
But not just that, to use it.
I mean, we've been driving around all day and today is a hot day. Like we're sweating and standing here right now in the shed.
It's been sitting on 180, didn't move off it.
Aircon's been great. We were saying the only thing it probably could do with is cruise control and it would be perfect.
But other than that, it's a freaking perfect cruiser and it's time to drive it.
We drove this a lot today. And if you haven't seen the build series this car as well too, please go back and watch it. A lot of it is from our very early days when we started the channel, so forgive the shaky cam. So yeah, from here you'll be seeing this car again for sure. We've got a few things that we want to do. Maybe we'll do a head-to-head against this HQ and that HQ. We'll see.
That would be awesome.
Yeah.
Go to Heathcote.
Yeah. Spin one wheel on mine.
Go to Heathcote, take them both down. That'd be sick.
Yeah.
We should just take all 3 cars. The Fairlane, this and that.
Yeah. Does anybody want to see a comparison between
An LSHQ.
an LSHQ and a 253? Well, like a restoration. Resto mod.
Yeah.
Anyone want to see that? Let us know in the comments if you can.
Yeah. That pretty much sums up this year, doesn't it?
Yeah, so that pretty much wraps up this year. Not only is this a wrap up of the LSQ, but it's also the wrap up of the year for us. And we're going to have a little bit of a break and get out of the shed for once.
Use the cars.
Yeah, because Nathan and I actually have 2 working cars for the first time in a very long time. So we're going to get out, use them, go to a few shows, just enjoy them, and spend some time away from the shed because we've been here every weekend this entire year. So we have to say a huge thank you to our major sponsor Burson for the support throughout all this and supporting the channel, because if it wasn't for you guys, there is no way that we could possibly doing what we're doing. So please guys, if you can, do us a favour, head on over to the Burson Garage website where you can find a bunch of tips, tricks and deals and members exclusive pricing. It's really well worth it, and by doing that you're actually helping support us, the channel, because obviously Burson support us and we need you guys to support them.
Yeah, and just as well as going into your local Burson store. It's just a great store. They have everything. You know, we just call up, they order the part in, we're there next day picking it up.
Yeah, and they get it in quick and they get it fast, and it's the right stuff. They really know what they're talking about. They're the parts professionals, as they say. So,
yeah, exactly right.
Also, a massive thank you to Tiperformance, as always, for your support throughout the year too, mate. We could not do this without you, Jason, Kathleen. Thank you so much. Again, Raceworks as well too. Thank you so much again for your support and continued support. Jamie over there. We couldn't do this without you guys.
Yeah.
It's a huge help, and again guys, please support them because they support us and they really know what they're doing. That's the best thing about it. We're working with the best in the business here. So.
Yeah.
But lastly, thank you to you guys at home. It's been a huge year. It didn't quite go to plan with everything that we were hoping to.
Yeah.
But you know, this year, what has?
Yeah. But hopefully next year things might turn around and we'll be able to actually do some of the things that we talked about, like, you know, do some car meets, go to just car shows in general.
Yeah.
Take your family down to the track, maybe take these 2 down to the track as well. And start enjoying the cars and doing content of us using the cars.
Yeah.
Instead of just us fixing the cars.
Yeah. So thank you so much guys for watching. Thank you for your continued support. Thank you to everyone that heads over to the merch store and supports us by buying stuff like that, because that goes a really long way to keeping the lights on in this place and keeps us being able to do what we're doing here.
Yes.
We want to keep doing that next year. We want to go bigger and better. We have a lot of big plans for next year, and we really look forward to it. You should see us back on your screens late Jan, I reckon.
Yeah.
We're just gonna catch some rays and sip some coconuts.
Yeah.
Anyway, until we catch next year, I hope you all have a safe and happy holidays.
Yep. Same from me.
And we'll see you then.
Have your ears gone funny? I feel like I'm talking into a fan. I think it's the altitude and the dumps.
The altitude jumps, yeah, maybe. Why am I always the one starting on the hill?
What do you mean? It's auto!
I know it's auto, but still. Oh wow, it's touchy.
It's so touchy. And the brakes. Wait till you hit the brakes.
It feels cool. It does feel like a someone else's cruiser. How good a someone else's cruiser is this going to be?
Oh man, I can't wait to cruise around Summer Dance.
You happy, Loki? Satisfied? Yeah. We still have the original tape deck, and we still have old drinking songs in there. I love that.
I feel like we're sitting on a sofa in a tattoo shop. It's just bounces.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I still love the column shift. I've always wanted the car with a column shift. Mainly because I always wanted to like back up in a column shift, you know, and then slam it and drive. I'm not going to do it in this car, but one day I will. One day I'll live out my dream and get to do it. Preferably in an old F truck or something.
Yeah, yeah.
Or a Crown Vic. Rookie. I've been doing this for 2 years now and he still doesn't turn his phone on silent.
It's the owner of this car. Yeah, we're on the side of the freeway. It's broken down. Oh man.
There's transmission fluid everywhere.
Yeah, there's trans fluid everywhere. Yeah, it's just... Do I really sound that serious?